maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called First Ladies until you change the name.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Aye, City, do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda.
What are they saying? How are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes, my name is I Believe. But what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of God.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning, and where are we this morning? So everywhere you look, really, there's water, and we need to figure out what's going on in terms of where you cannot pass this morning. So we're looking at major highways having been blocked off. If you're going in that Mahimahu direction, please don't, first of all, because the road has been closed off. Ken has said nobody should use that until further notice. We'll come back and take a look at what's going on in the city of Nairobi and also other parts of the country. When we're going towards Thika Town, roads have been deemed impassable because the huge amounts of water are stopping any kind of movement. So going out towards Thika Town, going out then in the other direction, out towards Machakos, quite some roads are underwater. So you have to be very, very careful, folks. In the city, we're not looking at much traffic right about now. We'll see that develop as we go through into Tuesday morning. But let's talk to one another, shall we? SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's the day after quite a lot happens in the country, and it's the 30th of April, coming into the last day of the fourth month, and quite a lot that Kenya is looking at today. Unfortunately, we came from a day of a huge loss when it came to loss of lives. A lot of people still missing, and basically the country is underwater, and through that all we still have some hope to get into the day and say this is where we are. Our condolences go out to families who lost their loved ones yesterday, and unfortunately we're looking at a situation whereby the loss is still unaccounted for as rescue efforts are still underway. Roads have been closed off and the water keeps coming. So this is one thing that we're looking at today. We're looking at the state of things. We're looking at how things have developed over the last 24 hours, and one can only hope for the best. And in spite of all that, and despite all that, we still say good morning to you and welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. It's 13 minutes after 6 o'clock on this 30th of April, and as we get into the day, quite a number of things to talk about this morning. For those of you who are here, I hope that you're all well, and those everybody else around the country, karibuni sana and good morning. Eric, good morning.
Hello, Ndu.
How are you?
I'm well.
Fantastic.
And thankful and grateful to God.
There's a lot to be grateful for, really.
Yes.
And it's such moments that you actually understand, yes, how blessed you've been.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're alive, you're well, indeed. You should thank God on bended knees.
Absolutely.
Because all around us, there's turmoil. All around us are people who had homes are now homeless.
Yep.
People who had roads are now roadless.
Oh, my goodness. Yep. The tragedy of my Mahio is a big tragedy.
Oh, it's a massive one.
It's a big tragedy. And just looking at it and looking at the number of people who've been impacted and affected by this, those people who lived around there, those who were just driving by, it's huge. And this is, of course, adding on to others around the country. Tana River is the place that you just, you can imagine the number of people who've been displaced just along the Tana belt.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a big one. It's a big one. City.
Yes, please.
Otherwise, everything else, you're fine.
Otherwise, everything else considered and all things being equal and all that, I'm extremely well, not just fine.
Okay. That's very good. We'll have several conversations today. Let me tell you what those conversations will be. At 7 a.m., the National Government Constituency Development Fund, if you just look at it, remove the NG, just look at the Constituency Development Fund aspect of it. It's 20 years since it was conceptualized in 2004 by the then MP, I think he was from Olkalau, Engineer Muriuki Karue. I don't know whether it was Olkalau or something. Yeah. So it's 20 years of CDF, 20 years of money going to constituencies for development. What's the impact of that? And now that CDF is big on education, how big is it on education? Back to school, how the NG-CDF is impacting education and communities in the country. So CDF is used for education. What else do you think it's used for?
Community development.
Like what?
Roads,
something,
church,
no.
school, classroom.
No. Schools, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, they use some of it for roads. There are places where it may not have been earmarked for that, but
you actually use it.
Take a bit of chunk because this road here needs fixing.
Yeah, they sort it out.
Building a classroom, building a dormitory, dining hall, things like that.
And paying school fees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, a bit of roads since devolution moved. There was some movement of roads money into roads, into counties.
Yes.
And then there is now the allocation of the money that goes into road development, road maintenance levy. Remember, road maintenance levy now is also then divided into constituencies. So it goes. Road maintenance levy goes into constituencies through that. But we'll be joined by the Corporation Secretary of the NG-CDF, Simon Ndu Okoh. It matters where the W is.
Oh, a great deal.
Yeah.
Simon Ndu Okoh joins us at 7 a.m. to talk about NG-CDF and the impact that it's having. Nairobi is one of the counties in the country that is facing some serious sufferation because of the flood situation. Brian Mulama is the county executive committee member. Okay, he's the Nairobi Minister for Mobility and Works, and he's in charge of works, sewage, drainage, roads, all those things. Disaster. County government's response to the flooding disaster. He'll be joining us at 8 a.m. And then we also know that since what we saw over the weekend in Mathare, there's been a lot of community mobilization of trying to help the people in Mathare and other areas. Mzalendo Wanjera is the community organizer and co-founder of the Mathare Social Justice Center. The Mathare Social Justice Center has launched an appeal on social media and else how for people to help people who are affected by the flooding and displacement in Mathare. Mzalendo Wanjera will join us at 9 a.m. to talk about this and what they are doing. Are we live streaming the show?
Yes, we are.
Is Edna in today?
She's not.
No, she's not. So who's Edna today?
Openje is Edna, and there's Diego will be Edna, and Miguel will be Edna.
At Miguel. Okay.
Everybody want to be Edna.
Miguel.
They're on their way.
Mr. Openje is right here and he's switched on the live stream. So we're live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. If you're online, you know what you need to do. Just let us know where you are. If you're around the country, please tell us the situation where you are in terms of rain, in terms of flooding, and whether people are affected. And if you're outside the country, also tell us where you are. And I'm sure you're in touch with people in country. Also tell us about them and how they're faring. We'll be acknowledging your presence shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning and a chance of rain throughout most parts and times of today. We'll see partly sunny conditions going to highs of 25 and lows of 17 today. We're looking into a mostly cloudy Nakuru at 16 with highs of 25 and lows of 16 in a cloudy Nyeri, and into Eldoret at 15 it's clear going to highs of 24. Into Mombasa, clear at 24 with highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 32 as well in a sunny Malindi at 26. It's clear at 20 in Kisumu with highs of 28, while at 18 it's clear in Kakamega for now with highs of 27 through Tuesday. Clear conditions at 21 in Kampala with highs of 27, while in Dar es Salaam it's clear at 24 with highs of 32. This morning at 12 degrees, partly cloudy in Johannesburg with highs of 24, and at 27, Mogadishu will be mostly sunny going to highs of 33. And into Addis Ababa at 14, it's mostly cloudy with highs of 25 and lows of 13. Lagos is partly cloudy at 29 with highs of 34, while Kinshasa is clear at 25. We'll see highs of 34. Tuesday afternoon, Beijing is cloudy at 20 with highs of 24 and lows of 9, while Paris is mostly cloudy at 12. We'll see highs of 18. And London is cloudy at 8 with highs of 17. Clear conditions in New York on Monday night at 15 degrees. Coming into Tuesday, we'll see highs of 28 and lows of 13.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
20 minutes after 6. Good morning, and how are you doing? What is it, 20,000 seconds?
Is your mind somewhere?
Good question.
Is my mind somewhere?
No, it's a good question.
Yeah, my mind is always somewhere.
I hope so.
But the question you've asked is a good one.
Yeah.
And I will respond to it not by telling you something,
Yeah.
but by doing something myself.
Very good.
Yes, I'm good.
This is a doing man.
Yeah.
This is a doing thing.
It's not just a talking
Doer.
man, he's a doer.
Kusema na kutenda.
Kwambia, my
Si
friend.
kutenga. Sawa sawa
Ongea
bwana.
rupu, rapa. Like a rat.
Naomba tu niwaulize.
Usiombe. Ndu, who's online?
Okay. Okay, quite a number of folks online this morning and already saying good morning. My Facebook people, where are you? We'll find you in a minute. Let's say hello to everybody.
Watching you wengi.
Nathan Newton says good morning from Boston. Edwin Kahura says good morning, guys. Tuning from Kikuyu. When it rains, it pours. Indeed, the clarion call for everybody: as much as you can, stay safe. Tafadhali. When you hear a warning about how you need to move at that moment, you're not sure where. The first thing, move. Rogers Nyange says good morning, greetings from Voi. Listening in as always, Onganyi Malala says today is the last day of April. Indeed it is. Robert Mbogo is tuned in from Mombasa, and also Joram Mombo is tuned in from Mombasa as well. Joseph says good morning from Kimonge. Rather, he is Joseph Kimonge, and he's tuned in from Ibencho. Ibencho.
Okay. Okay.
Good morning, the great situation room. Incompetence is the definition of this government. Wololo. One mic says good morning.
Jesus.
Hey, Mekucha not everything this morning. Weapons of mass destruction.
Kama mafuriko.
Good morning, Spice FM family. Busia is good, says Edwin Okoti. Samuel Bakora says good morning, keeping it spice. Good morning, Ndu, CT, Eric, Charlotte, Nyaboke. The people who are not even here.
Everybody.
I'm telling you.
Wow. Yeah.
Well done, Ndu. Message was received yesterday. All leaders came out to talk. My condolences to all those who have died. Please be careful. Indeed, it's true. Eric is back. I missed you, Sana. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Ndu and City. You know Stella? Stella's the one. She has missed you this morning. Well, has missed you previously, and this morning is happy to see you.
The one for whom the song was sang, Stella Wangu. Well, this is a different Stella.
In this case, Naimba Eric Wang. In this case, Eric Wang.
Airport.
Have you ever seen one Eric Latiff blushing? Where? From Hong Kong, sad situation for it's Mai Mahiu, and even more painful to hear the government say they used all disaster funds last year. What?
Which government said that?
I don't know. That's why I've said what.
You know something? That one. I will confirm.
We must be very careful. We're not sure that they said that, right?
Confirm.
Sorry, my eye. Santi. Faith says good morning. Good morning Ndu Eric CT watching from Bristol in the UK. Ndu greet my niece Lea Ubaga.
Ndio huyo.
Lea Ubaga.
Lea Ubaga. Uko wapi?
Niece umesalimiwa.
Niece umesalimiwa na auntie.
Yes.
Faith ni auntie.
Ni auntie ama uncle?
Faith.
Faith ni auntie.
Thanks. Leo, hello.
One
Princess.
can only hope.
One can only hope the Faith is auntie. In this day and age, you never know. But in this case, we shall assume.
Lea ametuambia.
Lea ametuambia.
Auntie.
Okay. Leo says, hello, Princess Ndu. Thank you very much. CT, Edna, Eric, each day in Kenya is a busy day for KK bloggers to defend their master. Wow. Gitahi Gishohi says, Latiff promised to fix online radio 2 months ago. You promised with your own hands. Do like that. Did you?
But see, it's fixed.
It's ready. We are done. We're okay.
Or?
Ama.
It's working, Gitahi. You try and tell us.
Ama, you're saying it's not. I will fire someone.
Real fast.
We'll shuffle this cabinet.
Before 8 a.m. Mapema asubuhi. Hussein Ali says, Salam. Good morning, everybody. Tuning from Somalia. Condolences to all the families who lost their loved ones, their homes and livelihoods. May Allah keep us all safe, indeed. Joseph Makua says, good morning. Tuned in from Merile in Marsabit County.
Right.
George Okoh says, good morning, my people. Eric, Ndu, CT, Edna, Yego, all falling in line, ready for a new day. Pin these people down and let them explain themselves. The president is hosting other leaders when there's a crisis. Leadership. Jack Katambo says, good morning from Naivasha. Sad but grateful to be alive. Let's all hang in there. It shall be well. Ivan Salangat says, good morning, tuned in from Thika. Anne Gore, the beautiful lady, is tuned in from the beautiful hills of Saboti. Carol Nyambura anaendelea to anasema anawapenda sana. The Kiswahili tripped there. Amesema anatupenda sana.
Anaendelea kutupenda.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Wilfred Odhiambo says, good morning, my country people. Another morning to introspect about our country and generation at large. He says the government proves to be incompetent. Boy. Jane, good morning from Nakuru, says, good morning. Good morning to you, Jane. Peter Kavoy. Is that how you say it? Kabui. You say Kavoy? Kavoy.
Kavoy.
Okay.
Kavue. It's actually Kavue.
Oh, Kafue. All right, so I'll never understand, but it's all good.
It's Kafue.
Kafue. Peter Kafue.
There's no fee in Kikuyu.
There's no B.
It's no fee.
There's no B.
There's no fee. It's all fee.
I will never understand.
Catfish.
Catfish. Wow.
For a moment there.
You were confused, Abby.
Lost the city. What manner of
madness
is this?
Which kind of fish? Cabbage. It's cabbage. Nasema catfish. Nakula catfish and cabbage. Okay. John Mwangi says, hi guys. Kenya should buy visas and leave Kenya ASAP. Wololo. Richard Makiadi says, good morning, good people watching from the US. Athi River tuned in kama kawaida. Alex Mnai says he locked in. Indeed, it's sad news for sure. Let's just keep praying. It is necessary. Mathare and Mukuru, Kwajenga and Kibera residents are not shareholders. If it doesn't matter to this government what they're going through. No, I think, well, okay. Many people online. George Odori, Peter Kiaria, Dominic Atticus, I see you, man. Good morning. Lamek Otieno, Evans Vosena, I think for the first time in a while, says good morning. And Robinson Kisero is tuned in this morning.
What is Evans saying about Christina Shusho's character?
Evan says, what is Zakayo doing? Which Evan?
That one.
What is Zakayo doing? The military and the NYS should be out there, barracks for humanitarian aid. That is actually true. They should actually employ the resources that are actually there right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Someone said on social media, I miss the simpler times when the biggest scandal in Kenya was Willy Mutunga wearing an earring. City, we're still in Algeria, aren't we?
We are in Algeria.
Righty.
Yes, we are.
Mambo ya hiyo kitu proverb?
Yes, mambo ya ile kitu proverb. Wewe jana nauliza yeye wako na president na mimi nasema yes. Wao yako na president. Na wao president yao naitwa Abdel Majid Tebboune.
I love that name.
Abdul Majid?
Yes.
Tebboune. Yes, then the prime minister exists there. It's called Nadir Labouri.
Okay.
Lituachio hapo tu.
Okay.
Sawa.
Okay.
Hiyo ni sawa?
Hiyo ni sawa.
Okay, proverb. As we didn't say a word. This, by the way, proverb, not me pontificating loudly. As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything.
Anything and everything he liked. That was the outcome.
Very good.
Because we didn't say what?
A word.
So he thought he could do what?
Anything he liked.
Yeah, that's it.
But could he? Nay, he.
The thing is, you can always try.
Yeah, you could always try.
You can always try.
Yes, you can.
Haya. Ndu.
Yes.
Fanya namna hiyo, headline ukuna na standard.
Niko na standard.
Tunangoja nation ikuja, sio?
Yes, let's see. Openje, you want to see if they can do like that?
Openje can ask them to do like that.
All right.
I will give you the headlines or I have the screenshots of the other papers.
Okay, let's start. Deluge of death. This is on the front page of the Standard. I know the pictures, alarming. It's a terrible situation. Residents near Kijabe Dam were warned about rapidly rising waters, but no action was taken. And thereafter, an entire village was caught unawares at night as floodwaters swept everything in its way. Yeah.
Difficult, huh?
Very, very difficult to see. Very, very difficult to imagine what was happening with young children. 45 people died in the dam tragedy yesterday. Of the 45, 17 were children. The number is higher because families have reported so many missing relatives after floods swept homes as people slept. You can imagine you wake up and your house is moving. 150 is the number of people who sought treatment at the Mai Mahiu Health Center. At least 25 were referred to the Naivasha Sub-County Hospital. Houses swept away by raging waters of Kijabe Dam at Mai Mahiu in Nakuru County yesterday. Residents and Red Cross workers rescue victims, and like we said, 17 out of the dead are children. Very, very difficult to watch. And this is the thing that was so difficult, is that it was not just water washing away homes, but that it was water then mixed with soil in this what was a landslide, and people were drowning in the thickness of mud. This is what they woke up to. So if your mind will allow you to imagine how terrible it must have been a death for people who died.
Yeah.
We'll look into details of that story. And there are quite some, and the Standard goes into quite some coverage of that.
Okay.
Heavy rains pound the country. We're still looking at very many parts of the country where rain comes down and the flooding has taken a toll across the country, east, west, really. North and south.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's a headline in all the papers today. Yeah. People Daily says floods kill 91. They've got a photo of the Easy Coach bus that had been dragged very far away by the raging waters. Roads cut, vehicles swept while seasonal dams burst its banks, causing gushing overflows that claim lives and decimate hundreds of homes in dawn horror. And then we've got the Daily Nation, Black Monday. They've got a photo of a woman here carrying a small baby, rescuing the small baby from this disaster area when the residents of Jerusalem and Kiamushiri villages in Mai Mahiu retired to bed on Sunday night after a day spent attending church service with loved ones, visiting with family and friends, or preparing children for school. They looked forward to a new busy week, but unbeknownst to them, tragedy lay in wait uphill in a gully that had collected massive floodwaters. And then early yesterday, slurry of mud, rocks and trees came down, sweeping away everything in its path, leaving 46 people dead and counting. That's the Daily Nation. Other headlines in the Daily Nation today: confusion over school reopening as Mashogu defends his move. For cheap loans, Kenya yields to tough World Bank conditions. And the other headline as well is a reprieve for residents of border counties as state scraps ID vetting committees. The Star: doomed chopper propeller linked to Ogola's death. Engine failed. Impact forced the roof to collapse on CDF and 9 others. That is what they're saying. Preliminary findings: military helicopter was not mechanically sound. Where? Okay. They've got a photo here of Raila Odinga wearing orange and flanked by his 2 deputy ODM party leaders. One of them is former Governor Wycliffe Oparah.
Yeah.
And the other one is former Governor Ali Hassan Joho. Yeah, those are the 2 deputy party leaders of ODM. Other headlines: 27-year-old woman fights uncommon eye condition. Gloria Ondieki, 27, has been through hell and back. At the tender age of 5, when she just started schooling, she discovered she had eyesight issues. She could not read anything far from her, and when night fell, she could literally not see. That story is covered in the Star. Lack of political goodwill delays police reforms. Nyamo Jumbo advocate out on a mission. Allah. Today is Tuesday. It's a free copy of the Star, but the Star does not have anything about my Mahiu on the headline at all. It's like they published this thing on Sunday and says the Gazette ya Tuesday are free. Chukueni off. Kenya cancels France-backed Mau Summit toll highway contract. That's a Business Daily headline. Hey. Kenya has cancelled that contract for the construction of the Nairobi-Nakuru Mau Summit toll road, citing, among other things, high toll fees proposed by the French contractor. A source at Kenha, the procuring agency for the construction of the 233-kilometre highway, told the Business Daily that the deal had been terminated, with the state planning to issue a fresh tender.
Okay.
Fresh tender. KQ suspends DRC flights in protest of a detained crew. You saw this announcement coming out of Kenya Airways yesterday. The national carrier has suspended its flights to Kinshasa, citing the continued detention of its crew by the Democratic Republic of Congo's military over a controversial consignment of bank notes. Walikuwa wako na pesa, wanashikwa na polisi ya DRC. State running costs outpace taxes despite Ruto's pledge. The cost of running the national government has risen faster than tax receipts in the current financial year, going against the pledge to lessen the burden on the taxpayer. Kisumu Uganda Expressway feasibility assessment kicks off. MPs to probe telcos credit purchase deals. 20 foreign institutional investors flee the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Those are the headlines in the other newspapers this morning. Time has really flown. Let's do this. We have got a long break, and then we shall do traffic. Sawa? Hiya.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I'm always here for you.
going towards 7 o'clock and what's happening on the streets this morning. So certain roads that we're not going to be allowed to use according to the Kenya National Highways Authority. That road then heading out and inbound around Maimahu. We will not use that Maimahu highway, not for now. It's closed off, so think about another route. And so all folks are using this one route, and that's heading out west. All right, let's come back into Nairobi and take a look at what's going on. If you take a look at the Thika Superhighway coming into the city, we already have quite some traffic, and it's heavy around Survey coming then towards Murang'a Road. Murang'a Road has some movement as you get towards the Globe Cinema roundabout. Uhuru Highway is also pretty busy as you're coming in and outbound from Westlands, and as you're coming in from the Nyeri Stadium roundabout, we'll find some traffic. There's a little bit of that also at the interchange of the Southern Bypass, so let's watch out for that as well. Apart from that, I think we're all right. Let's see what happens as we get into traffic hour, and we'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Twambie, Ndu.
All right, let's look at what's happening in the country. A trail of death and destruction as heavy rains pound the country. At least 9 people have died following heavy rains pounding many parts of the country. 3 bodies were retrieved in a flooded area of Konapunda around the Garissa-Madogo Highway as the search for the 21 missing persons entered its second day yesterday. Those missing are among the 41 passengers who were swept away by raging waters after a boat carrying them capsized Sunday evening. At least 22 passengers were rescued. The accidents captured in video that have gone viral occurred some minutes before 7 p.m., making it difficult for the rescue team to trace the victims before it was dark. Yesterday, the Kenya Red Cross Coast Regional Manager Musa Hassan said a schoolgirl was among the 3 people whose bodies were found floating on the water. The body was handed over to the family for burial in line with Islamic customs. Hassan said the second body was floating a few meters from the scene at Konapunda along the road. Now, if we look at the state of things around the country, 69 people have died, and this is as of the 28th of April, and this is all from the flood situation. 59 injured. We're looking at significantly more with yesterday's tragedy. 33 out of 47 counties have been affected, 25,030 households affected, 275 households displaced, 11 critical facilities underwater, 9 health facilities flooded, 35 schools destroyed, 481 businesses hampered, 5,774 livestock lost, 26,748 areas of crop destroyed, 31,015 people in internal settlements in Kwale, Kibra, Viwandani, Mukuru Kwanjenga, Kware, Kayole and Mukuru Kwaru been affected. This is in Nairobi. Displacement camps have been set up in Busina, 10 camps, Kisumu, 9 camps, Homa Bay, 3 camps, Migori, 2 camps, Kirinyaga, 2 camps. Like we said, this is significantly more with the numbers that we saw yesterday, or those that we are yet to hear of. So let's take a look at what's happening with the area around Maimahu. And we must understand that with the landslide, it's not just water. Water mixes with the earth, right? And so you have a lot of sludge. So folks, unfortunately, in some cases, did not wake up. They died in this sludge.
Imagine.
As it took place. You get it?
Imagine.
Yeah? That by the time there was a realization of what was going on, their homes had been moved, they'd been washed, and they died in this sludge. And some of those bodies are yet to be recovered.
Yeah.
It was very, very difficult to watch the man who was able to find his child who had passed, and he just was lost.
Just carrying a lifeless body on
and
his
not
shoulders.
quite sure what to do. You went to bed fine, you woke up in the morning and there was disaster.
Yeah.
There's a picture of the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, as he toured the area yesterday. We saw the CS Murkomen and Governor of Nakuru County, Susan Kehika, doing their rounds yesterday and really trying to find out how they could assist and help. Many people were taken to the Maimahu Medical Center. A number of people lifted towards the Nakuru Sub-County Hospital. But guess what? Doctors are still on strike. Okay? And so you can imagine there's a tragedy outside, and then bringing people into medical facilities where doctors are not on duty
Where
must even be worse.
the images from across the country on the devastation that's being caused by these floods is basically, it's huge, and it's across the country. For example, remember in Makueni, you saw a truck attempting to cross a river.
Yeah.
River Musui, Kwa Musui. And then the truck was swept away by the floods. And they all went, right?
Yeah.
And now the report here is that the body of a 30-year-old woman who drowned in Makueni's River Kwa Musui has been recovered, bringing the death toll in that tragedy to 10. 10. It was recovered at Ndunguni section of the river in Ngo Masumba ward by Kenya Red Cross Society on Monday. They're saying that the body recovery exercise is still on. They have 10 bodies so far at the Sultan Hamud Sub-County Hospital morgue. Out of the 10 people, 9 have been positively identified. This is according to the county disaster lead in the operation, Urbanus Kioko. Reports from a desk mounted at the hospital shows 5 families reported their missing kin. My husband was a businessman. We spoke on Friday morning when he was headed home from Sultan Hamud before getting the news of his demise following the lorry tragedy. We've been accompanying those doing the body search along the rivers, but all in vain. This is according to Immaculate Musyoki, the wife of Thomas Musyoki, who is still missing. My goodness. In Lake Victoria, we've been told it's going to continue raining. The effect of this is backflow of Lake Victoria has destroyed fishing in Migori County.
You know what the backflow is?
What is it, City?
Essentially, this is my interpretation of it, because you find it's like the lake is expanding. It's like it's reclaiming land that previously belonged to it. So one moment you have a beach plot.
Yeah.
Next moment you have a sea plot.
Wow.
Your plot is in the lake.
Yes, and the water keeps coming inland. So people who live near the lake will lose their home. Now, it's not just Lake Victoria. You'll find happening in Naivasha as well. You'll find happening in Lake Elmantaita. Anyway, you have a lake. Look at Lake Baringo.
So the lake is filling up faster than the water is leaving.
Yes, it is. But you will also find that if you look at the Nile, the Nile is also experiencing more water than it's normally accustomed to.
Yeah.
Yes. But that backflow is a problem, my friend.
My goodness.
Because it really comes
It's
inland.
the water now coming.
It comes
It's
inland.
the ocean, the lake expanding.
Yeah.
And it really
it's looking for a
expands.
space.
Yes.
It's a big one. So the people of Migori are saying, all right, now, first of all, the fish population has dwindled since the lake started swelling a month ago. He says water from the lake has affected our business. Boats have trouble accessing the lake. A fisherman says he's forced to sell his catch cheaply to locals to avoid incurring losses. In the past, this fisherman called Mondi would make more than 5,000 bob a day. But now, he's catching less fish. He's selling them cheaper because he's got to sell them faster. The backflow has eroded 27 landing sites and destroyed fishing bandas in Migori County. This fisherman called Omondi is part of over 3,000 fishing community in Nyatike, whose livelihoods have been affected by the backflow, which has left the 27 beaches inaccessible. This is Kao, Kimamra, Modingwena, Muhuru, Kibro, Namrongo, Kimamra, Aluru, and Ongoro, Angoro Matoso, among others.
Those are all landing beaches. And yes, it means that livelihood kaput.
Only 5 landing beaches are left.
Remember, a landing beach...
Londa Konyango, Aneko, Sori, Mugabo, and Sumba Senye. So a landing beach is where you...
There's actually a beach, so you actually dock there with your boats. Now, with a backflow, it means it's gone. So the water has moved inland. And the fish have decided they're going for the inland.
They're going inland.
Actually, they're not going to come where there's a backflow. Fish won't. It's just a natural inclination.
They can tell there's danger.
Yes.
They'll tell you, us we're not coming there. You come to us.
This is serious. We saw images from the government yesterday. So Kipchumba Murkomen, the roads minister, accompanied by the governors of Kiambu, of Nakuru, and other leaders were in Mai Mahiu yesterday. They were joined by the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, who flew into the area. And Rigathi says the people displaced from their homes by floods and sheltering in schools will be relocated as learners resume for the second term next week. The DP said the victims will be relocated in established camps to pave way for the resumption of learning. For those in schools, we'll be asking them in respect and help them to relocate to other places for the schools to be able to open. He spoke in Valley Bridge Primary School, Mathare North in Nairobi, when he oversaw the distribution of food and non-food items to residents who have been displaced by floods. Okay. He was at Valley Bridge Primary School, where people have gone to seek shelter. He gave them food and non-food items, and he said, tutakuja kuambia mhame hapa, tuwapeleke mahali pengine. Mahali pengine, he didn't say. In Nairobi, Gachagua identified Masinde Muliro grounds, the Assistant Chief's camp in Mavoko, and another one in Kasarani as relocation sites. So chiefs camps in these areas is where the people will be taken.
It is good that it's being reported. It cannot be said the government is not doing anything. Yes.
But man, this is.
Let me tell you, these are very trying and testing times for any government. Because the sort of deluge that we have, the sort of raging waters that we have, I venture to say that even if the government had been prepared, what would have happened is would have had less deaths, would have had fewer problems, but the problem would still be there because these waters, these rains, this damage, this has never happened before.
My friend, this is serious.
And yet we're being told by the experts that not yet.
Yeah, we're probably looking at another week of heavy rain throughout the country. I mean, it's just so heavy to even talk about, and that you don't know where it's coming to next. But I don't think that there's been a situation like this where really around the country where you look, everywhere you look, there's destruction of huge proportions. And that the rain keeps coming. We're not looking at that rain came and there was destruction and then it has abated and now we're dealing with the effects. That rain came, there was this destruction, and then rain continues to come. And that is what we're dealing with. That the floods will still keep coming, and it's going to take a while for them to then go. And of course, then unfortunately, we're still looking at health issues because for some time we will have those pools of water around, and then you have all sorts of things whereby, look, I was just reading an analysis report from the Red Cross yesterday, and some of the things that they have to deal with is that it's not just flooding that's coming and the houses are being swept away, but then also that you have sewers bursting, right? As a result of this. And so that water or that waste is mixing with other water that then sits. And imagine the disaster we would be looking at when pools of water that is mixed with wastewater are sitting there, and it then becomes problems: cholera, malaria, dysentery, typhoid. It goes on and on and on.
This is a big one. The question though is, do you get a sense of confidence that those in government that there's coordination in government and there is proper communication from top to bottom and from bottom to top on what's happening and response to it?
Beatrice Elachi was here yesterday, and I have to be honest, I've never actually heard it. The way she put it, that this is what needed to happen, and she's just talking about Nairobi. The way she put it in terms of this is this and this and this and this is what needs to happen. And it was clear to me that she had an understanding of that. If that understanding would then be translated to a wider group, because unfortunately what we heard yesterday, there was a lot of knee-jerk, that there was something that happened and everybody ran, climbed helicopter, flew, went and said, and this coordination that you speak of, Eric, is what this multi-agency task force, stakeholder committee, whatever, is supposed to have done, that was announced last week, that we are seeing this is the current situation on the ground. 1, 2, 3 is needed. 1, 2, 3 short term, 1, 2, 3 mid term, 1, 2, 3 long term, and then anticipatory activity of what is going to come. All of this based on data and information that the experts are telling you in advance. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a coming together in terms of coordination for what needs to happen. Because remember, it's not just Maimahiu. There is the western part of the country, there's the eastern part of the country, there's the northern part of the country, whereby all of these things are happening simultaneously. So this is what this central or committee essentially is supposed to do. Plan out, what do you need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we have? Who needs to go where? But then one thing happens and everybody rushes to that.
Everybody rushes into it. You know what? If you actually talk to the people who are in those committees, they'll tell you the kind of things that Beatrice Lachi was telling you. The problem with all these people is they all talk, and that's what City you keep talking about. They talk at problems. Yeah, so everybody knows something needs to be done, and they know what needs to be done. And everybody's saying something, and nobody's doing it.
It's doing it.
Yeah. For example, Elachi did not say what she, as an MP, has done to ensure that is doing to ensure that these things are properly coordinated. As a member of parliament, we have a supplementary budget. How much money are we now reallocating to make sure that people who are currently displaced are sorted? When they resume, how will they be helped to pick up their lives? Because many of the people who, for example, in Madare, if you have lost your household belongings, look at these people in Maimahiu.
Everything gone.
Everything is gone. They will have to start from scratch. Your house is gone, plus all household items. You had goats, you had cattle, you had cuckoo. Gone. What's the plan? Because Ivo inaisha in a few weeks' time.
Itaisha.
I keep saying yes, it will dry up.
And then we will move. Our focus will be moving now into we have cut back our budget by 350 billion shillings.
Because we need to repair the roads. We need to repair hospitals.
Those kind
and
of
then
things.
there'll be mention of people need to be compensated. Mention.
Yep.
Then you'll hear, we heard people got money, some of them want the affected ones. The same saga that we witness every so often when there's a disaster.
And this is why I really feel that one, you need to give authorities legs and fuel.
Yep.
You need to. The Disaster Management Authority till today has not been activated, and we know this, that they're not able to operate because, again, they don't have legs. But this is the thing that
they don't even exist. That law never passed.
It's never passed. But this is what we are saying, and I think we need to be very clear here that this is a disaster of nature.
Yep.
It is what you do after then that we now say you have been able to handle or manage a disaster properly. And right now, unfortunately, we are not managing this properly. There are many questions, there's so many balls up in the air. But unfortunately, what we do see is that I think, unfortunately, there's just clusters of different things happening. The coordination is not up to scratch at all. The release of funds in terms of what needs to happen, just like you say, people's livelihoods have been dashed to smithereens. What is going to happen to them? Who is going to handle those situations? Can you imagine the sanitary disaster that's happening in that Maimahiu area right now?
It's big.
It's crazy. That alone is not being handled or managed.
It's big. Before we conclude, Ndu, here is your moment. Outrage as Machogu postpones schools opening on reporting day.
Yes.
And accompanying headline, frustration, chaos after night school reopening change. You've got a minute. Go.
This is it. Number one, it is not a problem that schools were closed or that the school opening was extended for another week. The problem is that you know very well that people are traveling in advance and they're ready to go to school. Up until Sunday night, you said nothing to these people who have to travel from a very far distance to come and attend school. You waited until midnight to be able to tell them that they needed to go. I really don't care about protocol. I don't care about what State House had to say to whom. These are millions of people who are traveling. You should have told them before, especially since it was not on Sunday that the floods had begun in the country. And we also know that it is not Sunday that they will stop. Pre-communication is extremely important, especially when people spend everything they have to send their children to school and they have nothing to send them back and then come back a week later. Coordination, communication, extremely important. In the face of this, it didn't happen.
Can you imagine? There's somebody who was, Joyce Wakaba was in a matatu heading to Embu, inside a matatu.
Yes.
with her daughter wearing school uniform. Driver of the matatu is like, munaenda shule? Wapi? Shule fulani. Ujasikia shule wamepostpone kufungua shule? They are in a matatu who are going to school. Here is Francis Egueta, St. Mary's Igoji Secondary Principal. St. Mary's Igoji is in Meru. Florence Egueta says she already had 2 students who had reported they are from Kilifi.
And they didn't fly.
They are already in Igoji, Meru. Now what am I doing with these children?
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Grief, sorrow and a sense of emptiness struck the families who lost their kin on Sunday evening on a boat that capsized in the Konapunda area in Tana River County. Bags and personal effects were retrieved, revealing the identities of those still missing. 4 bodies have so far been retrieved from the raging waters as the search for 15 more bodies continues. Leaders from Tana River and Garissa now say greed caused the disaster.
A criminal for that matter, who just decided to bring some 2 boats from I don't know where, from Lamu or somewhere, unlicensed, packs people into the boat and without any regard for their safety.
Kama sio ile overloading, ile meli haingezama. Maana kumekuwa pale na boat 3, lakini hii moja ilikuwa inajaribu kukimbizana na hii nyingine na ilikuwa imesahau kama overload. That's why iliturn alafu ikamwaga watu ndani ya maji.
Tulikuwa kama watu wengi sana zaidi ya 40. Sasa wakati tumefika pale hiyo mali barabara imekatika, nimesikia tu boti katuangukia hivi katufunika. Sasa hapo ilikuwa wewe ujiokoe kama uko na uwezo wa kuogelea. Mimi sijui kuogelea, nimemshikilia jamaa mmoja alikuwa ametoka Lamu na ile boti.
Kenha says the public should avoid these road sections that are now impassable. They include approximately 700 meters from Mai Mahiu towards Naivasha and approximately 1 kilometer from Mai Mahiu towards Suswa Narok. Motorists plying the Mai Mahiu Suswa Narok highway and the Mai Mahiu Naivasha road have also been advised to look for alternative routes after debris was swept into the roads following Sunday night's heavy downpour. Elsewhere, police in Embu have cautioned motorists against using the Embu-Meru highway at Ikanga Bridge within Gutundiri area. County Commissioner Nicholas Minor said they are monitoring the situation and will close the busy highway completely in case of a downpour. The death toll in the landslide tragedy caused by floods in South Suba constituency has risen to 4. One more body of a 7-year-old girl has been found in the rubble about 1 kilometer from their home in Kisaku village. Area MP Karoli Omondi and Commissioner Sebastian Okring say that they are strategizing on how to support victims of the tragedy that affected more than 900 people.
Let me begin by expressing my condolences to the families that have lost their loved ones. We are in one such home. This lady here lost 3 of her children, and we have also another mzee here who lost his wife. For those who have been injured, we have been able to facilitate their transportation to hospital, and we will cover some of the medical bills. Because of the strike, we have agreed an ambulance will take some of the injured to Kisii for medical checkup and medical treatment. What happened here is so unusual. I cannot believe it is just rain. I don't know exactly what happened, but you can see the huge rocks that have come down tumbling.
This event comes as the Met Department has announced that the rain intensity will subside next month, calling on residents living on areas prone to landslides to vacate to safer grounds. Kenya Railway says that the tickets purchased for travel by students between Monday, April 29th and February 3rd will remain open for use from Monday to Friday next week. In a public notice, Kenya Railway stated that the extension only applies to students and their accompanying guardians. This notice has been issued in light of the extension of school opening dates for the second term by the Ministry of Education. The government of Kenya, through the Ministry of Education, announced that learners who are expected to begin reporting to school on Monday, that is yesterday, will now be expected to report as of May 6th, which is Monday next week. Retired President Uhuru Kenyatta has been appointed to lead the African Union Election Observation Mission in South Africa in May. Chairperson of the African Union, that Commission, Musa Faki, says the AU-EOM comprises 60 short-term observers, including 3 core team electoral experts who are set to observe the elections from May 21st to June 3rd. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubag.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, taking a look at how it's all opening up this morning on Jogo Road. Traffic heading out towards Landis. Landis free and clear for now. All the way through towards that Kamkunji roundabout, you'll be fine. There's movement on Kangundo Road, but then you're going to find some spots where it is bumper to bumper as you then try to approach Outer Ring. On the Thika Superhighway, traffic then coming in through towards Survey. Some traffic there heading out towards Muranga Road. Also on Kiambu Road this morning, it is pretty heavy as you get towards Muthaiga Square. Apart from that, I think we're just getting into the thick of things with traffic. We're going to keep an eye on all of it. Please remember, extremely important, water body, don't get in. We don't know how deep. Let's keep safe and talk on SpiceFM. KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 7, how are you doing? Welcome to the second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room, on this final day of April 2024. The month is over. Quarter 2, month 1 gone. We're on to quarter 2, month 2 tomorrow. Like that, to Kisonga. It's a very sad morning for very many people across the country, and we sincerely wish to pass our condolences to the families of those that have lost their loved ones and those that have been affected by the ongoing floods, starting with Maimahiu, going into Makueni, into Tana River, into all parts of the country where people have been affected by the current heavy deluge. And the weatherman says this will continue for a couple of days. So it's important for all of us to be careful. The government says, all right, if you do not have to travel at night, please avoid night travel. It's not an easy decision to make, but it's an important decision to make. If you do not have to leave where you're living today, if you can get alternative places to move to, please move. Now, of course, we will rap the government for not saying where you're moving to. But if you can make own arrangements, please do. If you can't, go to the chief. Tell the chief, niende wapi?
I'm here.
Niende wapi? Chief atakwambia sijui. Uliza Kithure. Niende wapi? Yeah. Tuende wapi. But this has got to be organized, and we've got to do something about this. It's a serious one. Showmax is saying it's important, as we have all these things. Remember Showmax.
Indeed. Also, entertainment is important. It's the new Showmax streaming for Africa. Shika Showmax, and you say all your videos, all your movies, all your series, your sporting activities, and your Premier League analysis, your catch-ups, all of that can be found on the new streaming for Africa for Showmax. And imagine, it's 300 shillings, and you get access to the shows and movies you love in your hands, and you get to see that on your mobile. You can watch one screen at a time for 300 bob. 650 shillings. all devices, the shows and movies you love to watch. That's on mobile as well as your TV or laptop, and 2 folks can watch at the same time. For 500 shillings monthly, all your Premier League in addition to the movies and series that you watch. All 380 games live, and guess what? In your pocket. Showmax at 700 shillings per month is the Premier League plus entertainment. Love to watch it all you want to watch, all on the go. And for 1,000 shillings, all 380 games live in your pocket. The shows and movies you love to watch. Entertainment at your fingertips. Shika na Showmax.
Kabisa. Now, there's something that we've been talking about in this country for the last 20 years. CDF. Maendeleo at the constituency level. Now it has moved, from CDF to NG-CDF. Same animal, just this time it has a goatee. Okay? But it's a goat. However, how is the CDF organized? So we know MPs receive money for CDF, they go, but is there one coordination of CDF? We even know the amount. In some cases, we actually, how much is the latest amount?
I don't know, but I would have pontificated, but since we have the expert in the room, I'm not playing a guessing game.
Very good. So let's welcome the expert. Ndu Okoh is the Corporation Secretary at the NG-CDF board. Simon, good morning.
Morning, Eric.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome to the hot seat of Kenya's
Thank you
biggest
so much.
corporation.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And to show you that it's really good to have you here, CT is going to welcome you with the day's proverb. This week, the proverbs are from North Africa. Where?
Algeria.
You were to tell us a number of things about Algeria.
Yes, I was. I was to tell you that this country is an extremely interesting one. Interesting because if you look at its history, many of the people who actually ended up, they were actually Arabs. Okay. But then they found a community of people called Berbers, Wenyeji. Now that entire that region, you will find a mixture. And then of course the intermarriages also create new communities. But the government is an interesting one. Yesterday, I diverted slightly from what it actually is, and I baptized it as something which I thought was appropriate. So today, let me get back to form and tell you what sort of government they actually have. Okay. No guesswork, no embellishing, nothing. It's a unitary semi-presidential republic.
Unitary semi-presidential republic.
Yes, because they have a president. This is how it works out. When you hear unitary semi-presidential, there's a prime minister. Okay. They have a prime minister, then they have a council president, and then they have an assembly president. So if we had a prime minister, we would also be a what? Semi-presidential. But since we don't have a prime minister, we only have a prime cabinet leader. Okay, we are not. And then it has in its legislature an upper house and a lower house. But the upper house is called a council of the nation. Nice name, isn't it?
Right.
Okay, then lower house is called People's National Assembly.
Okay.
Right? That's the uniqueness of the country.
Okay. Voila.
You said the president's name is?
The president's name is
Majid Samoa.
No, yes, correct. It's Abdel Majid Tebboune.
Abdel Majid Tebboune.
Yes, Tebboune is O-U-R-E.
Okay.
Whether it's pronounced Tebboune or Tebboune, Tebboune.
Okay.
Yes.
Prime Minister?
Prime Minister is actually called Nadir Larbaoui. I am actually pronouncing I'm pronouncing every yes.
Labrador.
Yes, Larbaoui. I'm sure it's pronounced differently. Forgive me for desecrating the name, but I'm reading it. Now, then the council...
E the consonant or E the vowel?
I.
Okay.
If you went to school and the bulk of the school was under trees, then you didn't say A, B, C, it was A, E, R, O, U. Understand?
Understood it.
Okay, very good. The council president is called Saleh Gujil. Yeah?
Okay.
Assembly president is called Ibrahim Bugali. Not Ugali, Bugali.
Not Bugatti.
Yes, and not Bugatti either. All right?
Okay.
Can I now mention the proverb?
Oh,
Okay.
not done that yet?
No, I haven't. I was just giving you the peculiarities of the country. All right. As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
What's the proverb?
All right. The proverb of the day from the country of Algeria. As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
Oh, it wasn't you.
It's not you who's not saying a word. Sorry.
Oh, okay. As he didn't say a word, he thought he could do, as we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
Since you're the guest, I need to explain to you the peculiarity of this group. On rainy, cold days like this, my friends are a bit slow.
Yes.
So,
Simon, what's the interpretation of this proverb?
Eric, I think that's a very interesting proverb. Maybe
as we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
I would imagine a situation where there is an authoritarian government and the president or the person who is in charge of that country, even without any reference to constitution, would do anything that they would want to do, word or without a word. That would be my understanding of that proverb.
He saw the people were just quiet, calm, doing their own things, living their own way, living despite the government. So he thought, I've got free will to do as I wish.
As I see fit.
As I see fit. Very rich coming from Tunisia, isn't it?
This country is actually called Algeria.
Algeria, right.
But Tunisia is not far.
It's not far from there.
Why not?
That's our. Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
That's a good one. Yeah. Please, we know CDF.
Yes.
You tell us about the 20 years of CDF, but let's start with this board thing. What's the NG-CDF board?
Thank you, Eric. NG-CDF board is the state corporation, a corporate entity that is established to manage the entire CDF fund. We have a board with a chairman and board members appointed by the CS, National Treasury. We have a CEO that now constitute our board of 11 members. They are charged with the responsibilities of effective management of the fund. Of course, there are other organs. At the top, we have the ministry. We are the National Treasury and the State Department Economic Planning. Then we have the board down there. At constituencies level, we have what we call NG-CDF, National Government Constituencies Development Fund Committees. These are the committees in each and every constituency. We have those committees of 10 members. And down there, also we have another organ called PMC, Project Management Committee. And as you can see, there is a proper governance structure.
How many PMCs do we have? 290?
No. We only have 290 NGC committees at constituency level.
Okay.
They receive the money. Now, this PMC, every single project has a PMC, Project Management Committee, that now undertake the implementation of any single project. Of course, I didn't say at national level, we have the National Assembly that oversees the FAD. So basically, that's the structure of the FAD. Of course, at the board level, we have secretariat led by the CEO at the management team at a head office. But the same board has seconded a person called a FAD account manager in each of 290 constituencies. So this FAD account manager is the CEO of NG-CDF. So this person is responsible to the committee managing the money that go to the constituencies.
I see. So it's an entire structure that runs from top to bottom.
From top to bottom.
You have not mentioned the MP.
Now, I wouldn't mention, I have mentioned the National Assembly because National Assembly oversees the FAD, national government funds. And as we shall see, as we progress, the current legal dispensation, we do not have someone by the name of an MP running the FAD. I shall be making those clarifications. Because there have been fundamental...
Make the clarification now, please.
Oh, yeah.
People see CDF, they see MP.
Yeah.
They see Billboard, they see MP, they see CDF.
Now, let me say this, Eric. CDF started in the year 2003. And we are celebrating 20 years since then. And maybe for your information, in 2003, that is when the first act was enacted. And it was a very good idea. And in that year, 03-04, the government disbursed 1.26 billion in 2003-04. In 2023-2024, the government has disbursed about 57 billion, or rather, the allocation was 57 billion. So you can see there has been growth. But let me go to the first issue on how the legal framework has developed since then. In 2003-2004, there were no structures. In fact, members of parliament were the ones literally running the fund. They could go run with checkbooks, issue checkbooks, get to have projects that were implemented then. But in the year 2015, or 2010, we got a new constitution. And we had to realign our act to the constitution. But in 2013, we enacted a new law called the CDF Act of 2013. In that act, the MP would participate in nominating members to this organ called NG-CDF committee.
Okay.
Would select members to serve, and he was also, or she was also, an ex-officio person in that committee. In 2015, some Kenyans exercising their constitutional freedom under Article 3 went to court and they said this CDF animal is unconstitutional for many issues. One, MP, there was no separation of powers because MP was deemed to be running the show. At that time, I'd have said the member of parliament was an ex-officio member. When the act was declared unconstitutional, we went back to the drawing board and a new act was enacted in 2015. This act, one of the grounds of declaring the act unconstitutional was the aspect of separation of powers, because the court declared that there was some interference. The member of parliament was in it. The member of parliament could not allocate the fund at the National Assembly, come and implement and participate and oversight. There was, so to speak, conflict of interest.
Yes.
So MP was removed from nominating members to this committee called NG-CDF. But still, the act was not very cleaned up. When the act was declared unconstitutional, the board went to Court of Appeal. But at the same time, Eric, we enacted the Act of 2015 to remove this aspect of member of parliament. However, Eric, you may have looked at the Act of 2015 before it was amended in the year 2023. We had a committee in the Act called Constituency Oversight Committee with 4 members appointed by the member of parliament, and the member of parliament was a member of that committee who would also attend meetings of NG-CDFCs. Good enough, last year, towards the end of last year, the National Assembly amended the Act again to remove that Section 53, and we no longer have any trace of a member of parliament. If you come through that Act, you will not find any trace. The last trace was in that committee called Constituency Oversight Committee. Now, that section was repealed. But you see, Eric, the notion, the Kenyans, how the CDF had started, and the involvement of member of parliament. That's the notion we have in the country, that this fund belongs to the member of parliament. But if you look at the legal structure, the legal dispensation, you will not find a member of parliament anywhere now in the Act, other than oversight. Of course, under Section 50, we have a National Assembly Select Committee oversighting the fund. There's a committee now oversight the FAD.
Made up of members of parliament.
Yes, there are 19 members of parliament.
Only in parliament now.
Only in parliament. And that committee is established as studying orders of the National Assembly. So they do not in any way learn or get involved in the running of the FAD.
Okay.
But like any other committee in the parliament, any other government institution, they are overseen by various committees of the parliament. So again, also CDF, we have that committee called National Assembly Select Committee on CDF, NG-CDF.
So who runs this fund? As from what you've said, previously it was perceived or actually that members of parliament ran the fund. They decided what was going to be used, who it was going to be sent to, whatever. From what you've said, that individual has then been removed at all constituency level, at all constituencies, right? So who runs the fund today? Because the fund still goes to each constituency, does it not?
Yes.
So who runs that?
Now, thank you so much.
Ndu.
Is it Odu or Udu?
Ndu. Let's go with Ndu.
Yes. Thank you. Now, as I have said, at the constituency level, we do have a committee called the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Committee. They receive every year, we allocated funds from the National Treasury. That fund is shared across the board in all the 290 constituencies. And how we share these funds is dependent on the number of, the 75% of the fund is shared equally. Across the board, equally, 70%. Then 25% is shared based on the number of wards per constituency. If you have 80 wards, you get a larger share because that depicts higher population. If you have 2 wards, like a constituency in Lamu County, you get less amount. So 25% of the that fund is now shared dependent on the number of wards. I mentioned the Project Management Committee. This committee called the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee receives every year, they receive project proposals from members of public. They conduct public participation, public forums. They come and say, we need ABCD to be done, depending on the needs and depending on money available. They prioritize their project. They take to the constituency committee. Then this constituency committee, depending on the money available, prioritize these projects. Then they submit to the national board at head office. The board will consider those projects to confirm their in conformity with the circular issued by the CEO, with the legal framework and in adherence to the constitution. For information, Eric, we only implement projects that are of national government. If you look at our constitution, Schedule 4, we have functions that are done by the county government and those that are of national government.
And some are concurrent.
Yeah, no, we do not touch any.
So you don't touch the concurrent.
Exclusively functions of the national government.
Okay.
Now, if those projects proposed by the members of the public, considered by this committee called NG-CDF at constituency level, then brought to the board. The board will look at those proposals through a committee of the board. Before they come to the board, full board, there's a committee on programs, performance and risk management that go through those project proposals one by one. If they meet the threshold, they are now proposed, recommended to the board, led by a chairman, our current chairman, and board members. They look at those proposals. If they conform with all the requirements, they are approved. Then the board will communicate to the constituency committee that your project proposals have been approved. Then the constituency will communicate to the beneficiary your proposal
has
was
been approved
by the board. That's the process of project approval. When now the money comes from the National Treasury, it will come to the board. The board has an account in National Central Bank. The board, for information, Eric, this must be very clear. The most cost-effective fund in this country is NG-CDF. Why? Because only 5% of that fund is left at the national government level to manage, effective management. The 95% will go down to the people implementing their own projects. 95%. So the board will receive the money from the National Treasury in tranches. and will now submit this money or transmit the money to the constituency account. Each and every constituency has an operation account that receives these funds.
Okay.
I hope we are together. Now, this money now will be transmitted to PMC, Project Management Committee, that will now undertake the implementation of the project. And that's how the management, the running of the project is done under the CDF.
Okay. Allow me to just, if I can just go over what you've said. So there's the board. Every constituency is supposed to deliver to their constituency committee the project that they want to do. Is this under the Member of Parliament?
No.
Who is the one who is presenting these projects for implementation at the constituency level before it then goes back to the board? Who's doing this?
Very good. I said constituency committees at that level comprising of 10 members, including the DCC, Deputy County Commissioner, who is a member of that committee. They receive project proposal. They call for public participation, public forums. They announce across the constituency that we are in the beginning of a new financial year. We shall be having public forums within chiefs' camps, schools, churches. You are invited to come and make your proposals.
Sure.
So what do you want to be done for you? And that's what I call, if you look at Article 10, one of the national values and the principles of governance is public participation. So people down there are called upon to come and make their proposals.
Yeah.
They submit. Of course, there are so many proposals and funds are very limited. They are prioritized. For example, a school maybe in a certain constituency, say
needs a dining hall,
a dormitory, a classroom. Is this a need or a bus? So they prioritize. Once this committee at constituency level considers all these proposals, they are now prioritized. Based on the needs.
Right.
For example, if a school needed a bus, another school needed a dining hall, which is more needed, a dining hall. So the one that requested a school bus is maybe would be considered in the future,
next year.
Whatever. All those, but of course, because the board communicates how much is available for you in this financial year, and you are required to be guided by other government agencies in estimating costs of this project. So you estimate, and you say, our 202 million this financial year can only cater for the foreign. So they submit to the board. So as you can see, Member of Parliament is nowhere because the NG-CDF are instructed or guided by the board, conduct public participation, and of course, madam, they must submit proof, minutes, proceedings, and the people who participated in those public forums. That's how projects are submitted to the board.
Okay. Mr. Simon Ndu Okoh.
Yes, Eric.
You're saying officially,
yes,
on paper, this
not
is...
officially.
The residents of a certain ward in a constituency are the ones who say, these are our needs.
Yes.
Their wishes are transmitted to the constituency NG-CDF committee. The committee sits and prioritizes.
Yes.
Sends to board.
Very true.
Board reviews. Board approves.
Yes.
Board says yes or no. Money is disbursed. Project is implemented. No, MP has no role to play here. MP does not influence the committee, does not influence the people, does not influence the board, does not influence nothing. On paper.
Let me tell you, how are these committee members selected? The board issues circular instructions to constitute selection panel.
Who selects the board?
The board, the national board is appointed by,
CS.
By the CS, 7 members are appointed by the CS National Treasury. We have a AG is a member of our board, Attorney General. We have a PS, Minister of Education, a PS National Treasury, and a PS Parent Minister, that is a State Department for Economic Planning. We have 4 government representatives in the board and 7 independent members appointed by the CS and gazetted. These members of National Government Constituencies Development Committee at constituency level are also gazetted by the board.
Right.
So
who picks them?
They are picked by a selection panel This selection panel is constituted by the board issues instructions to the FAD account manager. It is actually the chairperson of that committee is the DCC. Deputy County Commissioner or a representative from that office. That is the national government. And you can see the essence of that is because we implement projects that are of the national government in nature. Then we have a hard account manager who is a member of that selection panel and 2 other persons from among the community. Yes. They advertise for whoever wants to become a member of committee. Those names are now again presented to the
board at national level. And gazetted by the secretary.
No. Once they come to the board, we go through to confirm that they have been selected as per the guidelines, because we have guidelines under our regulations.
Yes.
They are now taken for approval by the National Assembly.
Okay. So MP is playing no role.
And you can see, at no given time have we ever had a situation where National Assembly ever rejected any single constituency committee members.
So back to my question, just a yes or no. MP is not playing any influential role
other than oversight.
In this, other than oversighting how the money has been spent and whether the committee has been selected properly, procedurally, whether procedures are being followed, whether the law is being followed. That's it.
I would imagine
I want us to take a break, so you just say yes.
I wouldn't say yes, because I wanted to explain at Connected 4, the role of a member of parliament
is to oversight
or representation
and to represent.
Legislation and oversight.
Yes.
So at the representation, you can mobilize your people that CDF is having for us. You
Please
can
come out and
participate.
Right.
That is mobilization, but there is no influential role that a member of parliament would play.
Let's take a break. It's 24 to 8. Simon Dweka is the Corporation Secretary at the NG-CDF board. CDF is marking 20 years this year. What's the impact?
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Shopping smart and saving big only happens in your city. Huge savings at the first ever Sarit Mega Sale happening April 27th to 30th at Sarit Expo. Enjoy jaw-dropping discounts of up to 70% on your favorite brands. It's the shopping event of the year at Sarit, the ultimate retail destination in Eastern Central Africa. Earn and redeem points with the Sarit Loyalty app, available on Google and Apple Store, and enjoy the convenience of prepaid parking and gift vouchers. Visit SaritYourCity.com for details. Shop smart and save big. Only at Sarit, your city. I've got a plan that makes me even more relaxed than a Buddhist monk in a luxury spa.
ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. Talk to us today for a plan that's right for you. Or visit icealion.co.ke. ICEA Lion, what's your plan?
Experience the
some very nice, mature music.
It really took me back to my days, and I can just feel young again and enjoy the vibes.
Spice.
I'm a big listener of SpiceFM.
You play the best music.
This is 94.4 SpiceFM.
Experience the vibrant pulse of Africa at Festac Africa Festival 2024 in Kisumu. Join us for a week-long celebration of culture, music, fashion, and more from May 20th to 26th. Dive into sustainable growth with food, art, education, and youth empowerment. Don't miss Africa's premier Pan-African and global cultural exchange program. Get your tickets now.
All right, traffic coming in from Westlands going towards the CBD this morning. We're going to see some spots where it gets heavy, and then it'll all pan out as you get onto Waiyaki Way. Past Chiromo, you should be fine. It's heavy coming in on the Thika Superhighway, well past Survey today. The service lanes are looking good all the way from the Outer Ring Junction. You'll be fine until you get to Survey, and then it's one lane as you get out to the city. Kiambu Road is also pretty busy. We've seen a couple of lanes, and that's all inbound as folks are trying to get towards Muthaiga Square. All right, and then on Muranga Road, it's heavy as you get towards the Globe Cinema roundabout. Limuru Road is is also starting to build up. Lower Kabete, Spring Valley, that whole area is trying to join onto Limuru Road as well. So we'll see some of that as it continues. Aerodrome Road opened a couple of days ago, and so there's traffic that's touching on Uhuru Highway coming in from there. So it's a busy morning. We're into traffic hour. Let's see what happens as we get through it. Remembering what Kenya says, some parts don't go. Please follow that. And let's talk on SpiceFM. KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Continue our conversation for the next 20 minutes with Simon Ndu Okoh, the Corporation Secretary at the NG-CDF board. 20 years of CDF. It has evolved from 2003-2004. Just a paltry 1.6 billion shillings. Well, in comparison to how much is going out today, 1.6 billion shillings that was earmarked for CDF. And in the current financial year, 57 billion shillings going through CDF to develop constituencies. And Simon has just given us the breakdown of how this CDF fund is run and even how it's split. 75% of CDF is given equally to all the 290 constituencies. Then the 25% of this 57 billion shillings now goes into CDF prorated according to the number of wards in a constituency. So some constituencies then receive more money in CDF than others because of their size. MPs are not playing a role here. MPs only play a role of oversighting the fund. We see MPs claiming glory of CDF. Are we saying that this is wrong? For example, when an MP is voted as the best manager of CDF in his constituency because of the work that the CDF has done in his constituency, you know, schools, putting up gates in schools, cabro, building new classrooms and dormitories and roofs and painting and putting floors, paying fees.
How can they be the best over something of which they're not involved in?
And we also see, Simon, every beginning of school year, particularly, and school term in many cases, MPs dishing out CDF bursary checks.
Yes, thank you, Rick. For information, this is very important for us to note. Since inception, the government has allocated about 522.57 billion. That is slightly over half a trillion. And we have received so far about 484.64 billion that has come to the board and to the constituencies. Now, this aspect of a member of parliament participating in the affairs of the fund is an illusion. It's a perception. In countries where we have presidents who play ceremonial roles without executive powers, for example, in every constituency, they have a bursary vetting committee. People, needy students would come.
Who chooses this committee?
That committee is one that I said. It is a subcommittee of the main committee of the national government at constituency level. They have a subcommittee called a bursary vetting committee. They issue forms that are considered on the basis of neediness. Once it is done, they do checks. And if you ever see a member of parliament who is participating in maybe issuance of dummy checks, those are ceremonial roles that are not
executive. Those are dummy checks?
Yes. Real money will have gone to the constituency. And I can play a ceremonial role, like a pastor who does not receive maybe Holy Communion, and a member of parliament, because those are his people, and he can participate in the affairs of the constituency.
Sorry, so are you telling us, I'm sorry, these things that we see, right, whereby there are actual checks that are being handed over to individuals at the constituency level as the terms start, because they televise these things, we see them. You're saying that that is just for optics, it's just for show, that it has already been done beforehand or it will be done later on?
We have said they participate in that ceremonial activity. Maybe you can invite a member of parliament as a guest of honor as we issue these checks.
Oh,
okay.
But so he's an invited guest but the check, the allocation of the bursary was done by the committee.
They vetted, and remember, Eric, these are needy students who make applications, and there is evidence to that effect. Member of parliament will not come and say, give Simon Ndu Okoh or Eric Latiff, or
it is not their decision.
It's not their decision.
Okay, let me ask a question of a direct incident that occurred in December last year. And if I remember correctly, it was Honorable Amolo who said, we want to close, we want to go on recess, and there are students who are waiting for money, but that CDF had not been released at that time, and that what are they supposed to go and tell their people if you've not released money? And then the promise was made to them that don't worry, money will come out. My question is, why is the promise made to them if there is an overall understanding that it is actually not you who is at the helm of this thing? Why do they keep doing that? Because to the rest of us who are on the outside watching, these are the guys who are running the show.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much. That's a very good question. Now, look at it this way. A member of parliament is a representative of the people. I have sent you because the national government has not released the money, and this person, Chebet, Wajiko, Uma, down there cannot come to Nairobi and go to the national treasury and demand for money, isn't it? And this member of parliament is the only savior. Go tell those people, if they do not release money, will not go to school.
Okay.
So they lobby, they represent, they tell the national government, our people are demanding that you release their money. If they are not there, these people would suffer greatly. And I'm saying this with a lot of authority, that a member of parliament plays a role of mobilizing or representing their people, their constituents, in demanding for their money. Would that be wrong?
You've said it very well.
Yes.
So this is basically an MP just playing their representation role.
Exactly. Because if
by
you go
going to
back
Parliament
to the
and agitating for the release of CDF money, this is what an MP should do. Anyway, in Parliament. Now, when this MP, like Arama in Nakuru, is telling people, Pangeni line, Bwana Wacheni, and he's now giving them check, that is also just playing a ceremonial role as a guest of honor or as a foremost leader in this constituency to show the people that the job that you sent me to do to represent and make sure that money has been unlocked has actually been unlocked, and here is the money now being distributed in bursary checks.
It's like a guest of honor during prize giving day.
You didn't prepare the prize or the trophy, but they came and said, come and carry and give.
Yes.
No, for example,
and we are proud of the community.
Eric, let me say this. A member of parliament would lobby and tell the national government, as much as you're prioritizing other areas, these students are going back to school next week. You haven't released money that will go to the CDF. The checks are done in the back room. And now the member of parliament tells them, now the money that you sent me to agitate for you is here. The checks have been done. He has not influence. He did not participate in selecting the persons who will benefit. It is already done by a committee.
You know, I'm still stuck on this committee thing. Here is a constituency.
Yes.
The CDF board.
Yes.
How do you determine who is eligible to be in this constituency board to determine issues like those children who are needy?
Now, what they do when they are issuing bursary or other application forms, they involve other players. For example, county directors of education, and these people are required to come with fee structure. How much balance do you have?
Let's go back a bit. There is a constituency board that
it's called CDF committee.
It's called the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Committee of 10 persons.
Right. How are they appointed?
Now, I said that there is a selection panel, and these positions are advertised at constituency level, when now they are being brought on into office.
They advertise in the national paper?
No. Across the constituency. Because maybe churches, chiefs camps, and those other places that we shall be hiring or selecting members to come to this committee. Now, this selection panel of 4 persons will do the report, interview, and everything else, and submit to the national board, then transmit to the National Assembly. These persons are eventually gazetted by the Attorney General through the ministry, now the parent ministry. They are gazetted, actually they are public officers. In that 10-member committee, they form a bursary and other sub-committees. They vet. And they get to say, to know, these are the needed persons, these are the needed students. You can tell, I have a fees balance of so much. Now, I am a deserving case. Then the checks are written to schools, and maybe when you see Member of Parliament issuing those checks, it doesn't mean he ever did influence. Of course, he robbed the National Treasury, released the money, no CDF, no Parliament. It's for the sake of the people. Remember, the hashtag is just society for the welfare of the society. How then would they be doing that if they're not really agitating for their own people?
Let me tell you, Simon, when they come here, because they come here, many of these MPs, they tell us, for example, in my constituency, now I'm forced to reduce the amount of money that's going to bursary because of the number of needy students in my constituency, right? So I'm forced just to give out 2,000 per child. Maybe those going to national schools will get 10,000. I am forced to do this because of the need. I've also built 3 new schools with CDF. I've done this and the other. Are you saying they've been lying to us? Or they have been over-representing themselves and their importance.
Representation role.
They've been padding the truth.
A member of parliament is overzealous. When you are representing your people, you want to
own the development.
You own the development. Number 2, they would participate in the welfare of their people. When they say they are part of that constituency, they are part of that society, they are part of the agitators, they rob it for that money to be released. And for information, when it comes to the implementation of this project, we say they're implemented by project management committees, and those structures are there on the ground. You'll see Member of Parliament maybe opening those or laying foundation stone, commissioning, just purely ceremonial roles. They have no legal role that they play in those.
Do you know, Simon, what is actually ceremonial in this entire affair is the board. Because the narrative that has taken root and the narrative that is believed is that it is the MP who has built that classroom, it is the MP who has built that kitchen, it is the MP who gives those checks.
The MP might actually believe that this board works for them.
Let me make it.
And why haven't, as you answer this, has there been any clarification or instruction that has come from the board at national level that says, MPs, because you are not involved in influencing any aspect of a decision that's made by the people of your constituency, you should therefore not put your name or image on any project that's implemented by the NG-CDF in your constituency?
Very good. One, with or without a member of parliament, a constituency would deserve their share.
Okay.
202 million or whatever amount they receive, they get, it is their right, with or without a member of parliament. Now, the board that runs the FAD has issued proper instructions. We have a branding manual where these constituencies are required to brand without bringing or making some misrepresentations. At this misrepresentation, you'll see something like patron, this and that, initiated by this and that person.
So and so.
But let me tell you, even looking at why these people went to court, at why we suffered the bruise that we suffered, and why we had to clean up the act, is to get rid of the influence. By the way, Eric, there was a direct link before cleaning up the act, because a member would literally appoint members in the Act of 2013. That would mean he knows or she would make a determination who goes to that committee. He would control then it. He was a member, ex-officio member. 2, the last stroke was COC, Constituency Oversight Committee, where a member would appoint 4 members in that committee, and he was
among them,
among the 4, now making the 5.
Yes,
that has been removed, and they can no longer attend a committee meeting. So when you see some writings, I can tell you for sure, those people deserve those monies. Their money. Member of parliament, as it were, wouldn't be considered as playing any influential role. But there before, he was, our member of parliament was right in The FAD.
So to clarify,
sorry.
the last 9 years since the enactment of the CDF Act of 2015, MPs should not be putting their names anywhere.
That is the instructions issued by the board. And that's how the branding should be. They shouldn't put their names.
There should not be anything at the patron.
No, by the way,
MP
in the Act, we do not have an animal called a patron. It doesn't exist in
There
the
used
law.
to be an individual called a fund manager. Yes.
Yes.
It still exists.
Now, that fund account manager is an officer of the board seconded to the constituency who is now the CEO
of that
the
constituency
FAD
committee.
At that constituency. When the board transmit 150 million, the AIE holder, authority to incur expenditure, person is that person called the FAD account manager.
Who's an employee of the board at the national
board,
level.
And accountable to the board.
Okay.
Not answerable to any politician.
No.
Not even answerable
He's
to the
actually a
county.
public officer, an employee of the board.
Not even answerable to the local county, assistant county commissioner.
No.
Anything.
DCC is a member of committee. Deputy, per every single sub-county, we have a DCC.
Okay.
Now, I want to ask a question.
Yes.
And this is with regards to then the impact of CDF for the last 20 years. I've been having a conversation with a friend of mine called Fadhili Kanini. And we've been looking at, so he says CDF has had a huge impact. And my question has been, let's just look in the last 10 years of devolution. In this Nairobi County, we have 17 constituencies. How much money is going into Nairobi, into a constituency from the 75%? Like this financial year.
Per constituency, how much do they get?
Average.
If you look at the last allocation of 57 billion, you take 75 of that amount, of course you must less the 5% that comes to the board, you share equally. They are getting in excess of 150 million.
So 150 million per constituency.
In excess of that.
17 constituencies in Nairobi. That's a lot of money. Okay? Times 10 years. In the last 10 years of 17 constituencies in Nairobi. And I've been asking, so where has that money gone to? In Nairobi, how many new schools have we seen being built and that we can attribute to CDF? How many new classrooms? What is the impact on congestion of schools in Nairobi? We had an MP for Dagoretti North yesterday, and she's previously been here before and told us about just the congestion of grade 7s as they were getting into school.
Good.
How do you respond to this?
Thank you so much. Let me give you a national outlook.
Yes.
Since inception, CDF has constructed or initiated 3,087 schools. 3,087 schools.
And by school, we mean open field, new school.
Yes. Okay. Out of those, 1,660 are fully funded by CDF. 1,660 fully funded across the country. In those institutions, enrollment to those NG-CDF initiated schools have been 882,000 students. 882,000 students. We have built over 9,000 classrooms. In the 3,087 schools, we have built over 9,000 classrooms. Now, we have done about 581 laboratories in those schools. We have done 156 thereabout dining halls. So the impact has been huge. When it comes to, we have also partnered, Eric, as we finish, with Ministry of Health, and we have been funding KMTCs. The board has dedicated 2.8 billion to KMTCs, where 61 new KMTC done by the board, 61 KMTC done. Now some have been completed, the others are under construction. And 14 more have had their infrastructures improved by the board. We have 5 that are yet to commence. So if you look at the national-wide, and for your information again, every year money going to bursary is about 15 billion, benefiting about 1.2 students. 1.2 million per year.
15 billion into bursaries.
We have many school buses across the countries. Of course, we have partnered with the Minister of Interior, have done many chief camps, police stations, we have done street ratings, everything we have done with this money. That's why we are saying the most effective fund. We have many other funds, but the most footprint, anywhere you go in this country, you must see some footprint CDF.
So Nairobi, how many new schools?
Well, I may not be having the statistics for Nairobi.
But they are new schools.
They are new schools, but the challenge we have in Nairobi is that they don't have RAD. In Nairobi, most of the schools...
We have land, we are building houses. Ask Hinga. Okay, go on.
Look at a constituency like Madale.
Yes.
To get, for example, Ruaraka, they had, sometimes back, they had to rehabilitate a dump site to construct TJ Kajwang Primary School. They have done quite a number of schools, but there is limited land. Because the RAD needed to do a school would be maybe a little larger than any other infrastructure. But they do a lot of improvement of the existing schools. But for new schools, they may be very minimal.
This is a discussion for another day. Planners ensure that there is land for posterity.
True.
The question is where did that land go? But that's a discussion.
But Simon, thank you very much. You've really opened up and clarified very many issues when it comes to CDF. And we'll invite you again.
Thank you.
As you mark 20 years of CDF, now to look at the impact, real true impact of CDF around the country and extend that conversation. Simon Ndu Okoh is the Corporation Secretary at the NG-CDF board, the board that sits at the national level that manages CDF across the country. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. President William Ruto will this morning chair a cabinet meeting to discuss additional measures on floods mitigation. Speaking on the sidelines of International Development Association Summit at KICC in Nairobi, Ruto said the meeting will deliberate on ways of ensuring victims of the floods are taken care of by the government. The head of state noted that the government is prepared to lessen the pain occasioned by the dire situation Kenyans find themselves in due to the effects of climate change.
Just last year, the roles were reversed, highlighting our shared vulnerability to extreme weather patterns. As I speak to you in this podium, 10,000 people in Nairobi city are displaced by floods. That is the gravity of the situation. Only a year ago, we had a devastating drought on the other end. This new normal demands our immediate and united action to safeguard our collective future.
So far, Kenya has lost over 100 people due to flooding across the country, among them 48 people who died at the Mai Mahiu mudslide. Yesterday, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua visited Mai Mahiu area, where he continued to urge residents to take precaution.
Usigojee tabu ikute wewe kwa nyumba. Wacha tusonge ile pahali tunaona hakuna hatari. Hakuna haja ungojee kitu ambaye hujui itakuja imekaa na njia gani. Lazima tusaidiane. Tafadhali watu wetu, na muomba kwa heshima na kumnyenyekea. Nyinyi ndio mmetuajiri sisi kazi, tusaidie nyinyi. Nyinyi mkipata shida, tumepata shida. Na kwa hivyo lazima tuombe na nyinyi kwa heshima kubwa sana. Mfuate maagizo ya maafisa wetu wa usalama.
Today, Gachagua is scheduled to visit Murang'a County, where 6 people, including a woman and her 3 sons, died following landslides in Kigango area. Elsewhere, the First Lady, Mama Rachel Ruto, will also be visiting families affected by the ongoing floods in Syokimau Mavoko constituency in Machakos County. 15 people are still missing more than 24 hours after a boat they were travelling in capsized in the Konapunda area in Tana River County. Bags and personal effects were retrieved, revealing the identities of those still missing. This event comes as their families continue to be hopeful that their loved ones will be found, even as the rains make the rescue operations difficult. Leaders from Tana River and Garissa now say greed is what caused the disaster.
criminal for that matter, who just decided to bring some two boats from I don't know where, from Lamu or somewhere, unlicensed, packs people into the boat and without any regard for their safety.
Kama sio ile overloading, ile meli haingezama. Maana kumekuwa pale na boat tatu, lakini hii moja ilikuwa inajaribu kukimbizana na hii nyingine na ilikuwa imesahau kama overload. That's why iliturn alafu ikamwaga watu ndani ya maji.
Tulikuwa kama watu wengi sana zaidi ya 40. Sasa wakati tumefika pale hiyo mahali barabara imekatika, nimesikia tu boti ikatuangukia hivi ikatufunika. Sasa hapo ilikuwa wewe ujiokoe kama uko na uwezo wa kuogelea. Mimi sijui kuogelea, nimemshikilia jamaa mmoja alikuwa ametoka Lamu na ile boat.
And former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria is once again in trouble as he's this morning expected to present himself at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission headquarters in Nairobi. High Court Judge Nixon Sifuna has ordered Wairia and others yet to take plea in the 140 million shillings Murang'a County graft case to present themselves before EACC for fingerprint taking and statement recording ahead of plea taking at the Milimani Law Courts later today. Failure to do this, the court directed that they be arrested. The petition challenging the DPP's decision to charge Wairia and the co-accused will be mentioned on Thursday. Kenyans prevented 2.4 million pregnancies last year by using contraceptives. According to a report dubbed Family Planning 2030, 6.5 million women are currently on modern contraceptive, with majority of them being from Kenya. The report further states that at least 75.6% of the demand for modern methods has been satisfied, but an estimated 14.5% of women who need the modern methods have access. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Okay, let's take a look at what's happening on Aerodrome as you connect to Uhuru Highway. Coming off Langata Road, that's quite busy. Touching on that is bumper to bumper, and then trying to get into the city all the way towards Haile Selassie. Let's go on the other side. We're coming in from Lusaka Road as well as Bunyala. That's all pretty busy as well. All right, we're looking at some build-up also coming in from Lavington, Mzima Springs, and then out towards James Gishuru. In and outbound is bumper to bumper as you cross over to Red Hill Link Road. And then we're looking at traffic coming off of Spring Valley, Lower Kabete. It's been doing the business the last couple of days. What's coming off of Thika Superhighway? Nothing much, except till you get to Survey, and then it's bumper to bumper, snail pace into the city. Kiambu Road busy as well. All this area as you get into the CBD. On Jogo Road, not too bad. Makadara train station, normal traffic. We're keeping an eye on things this morning. We want to be careful as much as we can. Find a trouble spot, will you let us know? And we'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7:08. Good morning. It's a final day of April 2024. In this very, very wet country, and it's danger all over, and you're being advised, please be careful. That story from Lamu, for example. So road has been swept away, the transport has been affected, somebody comes with a boat carries people, boat is overloaded, boat starts speeding, boat capsizes. My goodness.
A mess.
You know, one thing just leading to the other.
Unauthorized release, first of all, is what we're hearing now.
Yeah. Things just moving one to the other. You've talked about transport and what's happening on the roads. There was an alert that was issued by the Kenya National Highways Authority yesterday, 9 hours ago, and it said Mai Mahiu Road closed. The Kenya National Highways Authority would like to notify the public of the closure of the Mai Mahiu Narok Road. This follows the sudden situation coupled with heavy debris deposited on a section of stretching over a kilometer at the Suswa area, about 27 kilometers from Mai Mahiu town towards Narok. The authority contractor is currently on site clearing the situation, and this exercise will extend overnight. That was now into this morning. This closure will allow smooth clearance of the situation and avoid incidents of vehicles getting stuck. Among other possible dangers, the authority advises motorists plying this route to use alternative routes, including the main Nairobi-Nakuru highway. The authority remains committed to seamless connectivity. So alert issued by Kenha says, on the road to Suswa, please, there's debris on the road, and so we've got to close the road. And it will remain closed overnight. And we'd like to advise people who are applying this road, please look for alternative areas, alternative roads, including the main Nairobi-Nakuru highway. You are going to Narok. The main Nairobi-Nakuru highway, find your way.
Find your way.
The problem I always have with Kenha, coming out to life again. So what are the alternatives?
Solution.
What is the solution? So, okay, so you've closed this section of the road. Just give all the alternatives. Number one. Number two, you started your journey. You are not on Twitter. You have branched off at, what's that place called? The branch off from the main highway towards Mai Mahiu. You're going towards Narok, right? Rironi. You branch off at Rironi. You do not go. You have not seen Twitter. You go and find the road has been closed. Then what do you do? Right? Were they there? Had they put in the signs earlier? Had they placed traffic marshals to say, if you're going to Narok, please do not use this road? Consider these other routes. Have they done all that? Have they communicated to the bus companies, the matatu companies, the PSVs that are plying this route that maybe would be plying at night, the tourist service vehicles, because people will be heading towards the tourism areas of Masai Mara? Have they communicated to? That is one issue. That's just, yeah, that's just it. Ndu?
Yes.
Multi Choice has a message for us through what's it called?
It's called Showmax.
Showmax, that's the one.
Shika Showmax is what we're asking you to do this season. It's a brand new viewing for Africa, a brand new streaming for Africa. All of your favorite movies and series available on this fantastic platform. So what can you do? You can get the ultimate viewing experience and entertainment experience. You don't have to look further than Showmax. Watch your favorite series, movies, and more on multiple devices in HD. So the different packages for as low as 300 shillings and going up, you will be able to watch on your mobile, stream on 2 screens, or download content now where you have access to data and then watch it later. The Showmax Premier League plan offers live matches, highlights, and fan content on your mobile. Visit the website on www.showmax.com. Figure out what you want to watch, which package you want to get into, and up your entertainment game. Shikana Showmax, do it today.
I think Showmax should commission a brand new show based on Kenya and Kenyan government officials.
You know how they did that one for the 8th county, County 00?
It was County 48.
County 48.
Was it 48 or 49?
It was County 49, actually. Yes.
County 49.
Yeah.
Something like that. They know we'd be starting actual figures. For example, Kithure Kindiki wearing, jungle uniform and stepping out of a helicopter and saluting, while chiefs are wondering, so what do we tell people to do? Rains have come. How do we organize these people?
Salute them.
Kithure salutes. And then Moses Kuria wearing the NYS uniform and standing there with a kofia. And the people in Mai Mahiu are struggling to just move debris and look for their loved ones, and they're picking bodies. And this gentleman who's seen, just collecting the lifeless body of his, I don't know whether it's a son or brother or relative, and just placing the lifeless body on his shoulder. And Moses Kuria in NYS fatigues. Salutes. Or the governor of the city county of Nairobi wearing Kanjo uniform. And stops and says, ile mvua inakuja. Ni mbaya hata kuliko mujipange. And the people in Mathare are like looking for
They're
their loved
wading
ones.
in the water.
They're wading in the water, and they're wondering what to do. And ile mvua inakuja. Salute. We can call that what? Salute. In fact, that's the name of the show.
That's it.
Salute.
Season 1.
Brian Mulama is the minister in the Nairobi City County Government who's in charge of mobility and works. When we talk about works, we have all these things that we've been talking about. Salute, Brian. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Welcome to the Hot Seat Situation Room.
So.
I know you have not been laughing or sleeping in the last couple of days because of the work that you have to do.
Yeah.
You're here to answer to the questions on what you've been doing while the people of Nairobi are suffering. Karibu sana to the conversation.
Okay.
City, why don't you welcome Waziri with the day's proverb?
Yes, our proverbs for the whole of this week come from the Republic of Algeria. Today's proverb: as we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
Okay. Probably just to dissect what it is talked about is that silence does not give you a room to do anything. Probably we need to always don't take advantage of silence. We need to always find a better way of working out things. Sometimes when you find people are not talking, you cannot underestimate them. Or probably you're not supposed to assume that you have a right of way. So probably that's my thought on that.
Ndu, what do you think?
Well, I mean, if we keep quiet, it doesn't give you the authority or to behave as though we were not aware of what's going on. Silence does not
not consent
that we are okay with what you're doing.
Okay.
It could be dangerous, actually.
Yeah. Waziri, you've been dealing with what's happening in Nairobi.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of information, a lot of data that's coming to your desk.
Yes.
Just give us an overview. What's the situation like in Nairobi since we started seeing the heavy rains, flooding, displacement, and proper destruction of people's properties?
Okay, thank you so much. Probably talk about what has been taking place. And we're in a very bad shape as Nairobi County. The design of Nairobi that was done many years ago was only to accommodate few people. Probably Nairobi was, a long time ago, Nairobi was a railway depot. That was the plan of Nairobi. After that, today we have Nairobi as a city strategically positioned throughout the world in terms of